As forks clinked against cheesecake plates and laughter simmered into a warm post-meal hum, the music suddenly cut out. Confused murmurs rose, and then the bass dropped. Spotlights exploded across the tent, red, blue, and disco glitter. A voice crackled over the loudspeaker. "Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the dance floor for a little surprise entertainment." Two strippers emerged, flanked by fog machines and neon strobes, strutting like runway stars in synchronized rhythm. One wore a rhinestone fireman outfit, the other rocked a sparkly cowboy getup, complete with chaps that clearly weren't designed for horseback riding. Cara blinked twice, mouth agape, and then slowly turned to Gionni. "You did not." Gionni leaned back, smug grin in place. "Summer kickoff, baby!" Liz didn't flinch. She folded her napkin, leaned in, and murmured, "Well, that explains the mood lighting." Bill's eyes widened like a deer in rhinestones, clearly regretting every polite bone in his body. Christina and Rob, still tipsy and half-cuddled, clapped enthusiastically. Christina hollered, "Make it rain, firefighter!" while Rob's looked equally amused and alarmed. Nicole, Julie, Kelly, and Whitney screamed in delight, phones already out like it was a concert. The strippers launched into their routine, backed by pulsing remixes and unapologetic gyrations. Gionni raised his glass dramatically, hollering, "To summer!" while Cara quietly recalibrated her guest list for next year. The fireman strippers spun, dropped low, and sprayed a blast of confetti from what suspiciously resembled a hose, eliciting shrieks from Whitney and Julie as glitter snowed onto their cheesecake. The cowboy, meanwhile, was mid-pelvic lasso, kicking aside a fruit skewer in triumph. "I'm both scandalized and wildly impressed," Michelle said, clutching Cara's arm. Gionni, of course, was living. He stood at the edge of the tent like a game show host with a front-row view, mouthing the lyrics like he was spiritually connected to the DJ. Pete and Richard had gone completely silent, doing that polite stare-ahead thing people do in elevators. Christina, naturally, was waving a napkin above her head like she was at Mardi Gras. Rob clapped in rhythm, clearly trying to keep pace and not lose eye contact with Rhinestone Cowboy's abs. The energy hit a fever pitch when the fireman leapt onto a chair and did a slow shoulder roll right beside Liz, who didn't move a muscle. Bill had gone completely crimson, now nursing his sangria with both hands and visibly trying to evaporate into the table linen. Cara leaned into Michelle again. "There is no way this was on the original itinerary." Michelle snorted. "Nope. This is pure Gionni improv." The cowboy stripper yanked his hat off with a flourish and tossed it directly onto Anthony's plate, earning hoots from Joseph and Lorenzo. Gionni fist pumped like his team had scored in overtime. And as the beat dropped one final time, Cara raised her empty wine glass. "I swear, if there's an encore, I'm locking the dessert tent." The strippers start scanning for star energy guests. Anyone already waving napkins, throwing out ironic cheers, or side-eyeing with theatrical judgment. The cowboy stripper singled out Lorenzo, who was mid-mock boo, and roped him into a two-step duel while Joseph clutched his sides laughing. The DJ hits a heavy bass, and the cowboy stripper points dramatically. Christina leaps up from her chair like it owed her money. She was ready, fast-talking with attitude, and not afraid to narrate her own stunts like she's on her third espresso and a mission from God. "Oh my God, finally. You know, I was waiting for someone to bring the theatrics. Hold my napkin, Rob. I'm going up," Christina says, throwing her napkin at Rob. Lorenzo, dragged up behind her, whispers, "Do we have to sign a waiver or something?" The fireman hands them bedazzled tambourines. Christina snatches hers like it's the last clutch at a Bloomingdale's sale. "This is what we trained for. I did one Zumba class in '08, and I've been ready ever since," Christina says, strutting across the dance floor. She tosses her hair, strikes a pose, and yells over the beat. "Let me tell you something. I ain't just participating, I'm elevating the entertainment, all right? Tambourine's the soul of the rhythm, and I got range, baby." Lorenzo, swaying like a dad at a wedding, mumbles, "I think I pulled a hip." The cowboy stripper dips Christina like she's a Yonkers ballerina, which is to say dramatic and slightly off-tempo, but she owns it. She flings a wink at the crowd and yells, "Somebody better be filming this because I swear to God this is cinematic. And Rob, you better be clapping. Babe, I'm doing this for us." Cara hides behind Michelle while whispering, "If she drops a monologue, I'm unplugging the speakers." Christina, undeterred, breaks into a tambourine solo with the flair of someone who once almost auditioned for community theater but skipped it for happy hour. "Tambourine truth, y'all. This is what real passion looks like. Yonkers born, wine-fueled, and emotionally available." Final beat drops. Christina raises her tambourine overhead like it's a torch from Mount Olympus and hollers, "Thank you. I'm gonna be in the parking lot selling t-shirts and memories. Don't be shy. Christina's got tambourine fever and zero chill, so of course she breaks into a song like she's auditioning for a gritty Yonkers jukebox musical. Michelle clutching her wine glass like a stress ball. Am I hallucinating, or did Christina just choreograph an entire arc? Is she singing now? No backing track, just raw Yonkers bravado? Cara says, her mouth agape. Christina, still on stage, flips her hair, tambourine in hand, and belts out in full Bronx belt tone. Off-key, but spiritually in tune. Do we let her finish or stage an intervention? Cara whispered. Christina does a dramatic shoulder roll into a shuffle and then raises one hand to the heavens like she's waiting for a spotlight that won't come. You hear that, Rob? That's called stage presence. That's called commitment. That's called me reclaiming my Broadway dreams in a strip mall bar. She's not just singing. She's testifying, Michelle nodded solemnly. Give it 5 more minutes and she's going to start casting the dinner table as ensemble. I call it understudy, and I'm not emotionally prepared. Cara rolled her eyes. Liz chuckled loudly and clapped. She better keep going. She's so fucking drunk and it's so entertaining. I wonder how Bill feels about this. Cara watched Christina whip her tambourine in dramatic arcs, lean towards Liz with the precision of someone hiding from secondhand embarrassment. Bill looks like he just saw his 401k get set on fire. That man is clenching his beer like it's going to revoke her karaoke license. I'm telling you, if she hits one more high note, I'm lighting a candle for vocal cords everywhere, Michelle chuckled. Christina stomps to the mic stand like it insulted her brunch order and launches into a slurred rendition of Whitney Houston. I want to dance with somebody who respects cold cuts and understands me. Liz chuckles loudly. Oh my god, I love this mess. This is like a reality show, but nobody's filming it, and everyone's guilty. Bill, slowly pulling out his phone like he's either documenting or texting their therapist. She said she was just gonna sip wine. Bill, stop looking so betrayed, Christina says, spinning dramatically. If she starts quoting Shakespeare with the Yonkers twist, I'm rolling under the table, Michelle whispered. At the end of the stripper showdown, Christina milks her final moment with the strippers alone on stage like she's closing out on a tour in Madison Square Garden. Christina, seemingly oblivious to Bill's reaction, spun and twirled on stage, her voice getting progressively more slurred with each song. Christina pounds the beat like it owes her money. Lorenzo tries a shuffle that looks like a TikTok trend gone sideways. The fireman attempts a backup step. Christina blocks him with a tambourine flourish, spins in place, and belts, "This is why I tell everyone. Always wear wedges to a party, because flats don't build character." Final beat hits. Christina throws her tambourine in the air like she's releasing doves at a baptism and bows deeply. Thank you. This was a collaboration. Tambourines, trauma, and tendency. You're welcome. Christina, mid-twirl, points at Bill and belts, I need you in this chorus, B. Come on, baby, let's make deli history. Bill, forehead shiny with embarrassment, sinks lower in his seat. Not a chance. Cara slides up with a water glass in tow, trying to catch Christina's flailing wrist. Xtina, you're one shot away from impersonating a windmill. Let's dial it back 2 notches. Christina dodges, pirouettes into Michelle's table. Dial it back? I'm dialing up life, hun. You ever taste freedom after 4 glasses? It's like a pastrami-scented dream. Pastrami-scented dream is exactly the problem, Michelle chuckled loudly. Christina, spotting her reflection in the DJ's laptop, leans onto the console and shrieks her next verse. When life gives you locks, you spread the schmear. Dance on the tables far and near. The DJ, one eyebrow raised, reaches for the power switch. Cara lunges, heart and throat, and drags Christina elbow to elbow off the table. Last call for gravity, Broadway girl. I promise your encore is brunch tomorrow. Christina was giggling and stumbling a bit, clearly feeling the effects of the alcohol. Michelle and Liz were still laughing and shaking their heads. Rob just sighed and took a sip of his drink, relieved that the performance was finally over. Cara led Christina back to their table, trying to get her to sit down. Okay, that's enough for tonight, she said, guiding her towards the empty seat. Christina sat in the empty chair next to Michelle and chugged a glass of wine. Woo! That was amazing, she said, forcing a cigarette into her mouth. We're so glad you had a good time, Gionni smiled warmly. See, Cara, at least someone enjoyed the strippers. It turned out to be a pretty good idea. You just don't want to admit it, he said, rubbing her back. Yeah, it was kind of fun, she chuckled, agreeing with her husband. But don't you dare turn this into a routine without telling me, she teased. Everyone at the table chuckled at Cara's comment. Oh, don't worry. I think we all learned that lesson, Michelle said, still trying to catch her breath from laughing so hard. Bill, finally able to relax a bit, took a sip of his drink and shook his head. I've seen things I can't unsee. Liz, still recovering from the spectacle, snorted with laughter. You and me both.